Every day, all over the country, bus drivers like yourselves are responsible for the transportation and care of school children. Your training includes first aid, and many of you are also trained in CPR, so you can respond quickly to injuries and emergencies. Whenever you treat an injury where blood or body fluids are involved, you may be exposed to bloodborne pathogens. Bloodborne pathogens are microorganisms called viruses that are present in human blood and can cause a number of diseases. In addition to blood, these viruses can be found in body fluids such as semen and vaginal secretions, amniotic fluid in pregnant women, saliva in dental situations, and several other body fluids. The rule of thumb is, if you don't know exactly what it is, assume it is infected with a virus. In this video, we will focus on two specific viruses: the hepatitis B virus, commonly known as HBV, and the human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, the virus which causes AIDS. Laidlaw, in cooperation with the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, wants you to know how these diseases affect you and, most importantly, learn how to protect yourself from them. AIDS stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome, an incurable, fatal disease that is caused by the HIV virus. Although everyone has heard of AIDS through movies, television, and newspapers, many are afraid of the disease because they don't know enough about it. You can only be infected with the HIV virus by coming into contact with the blood or body fluids of an infected person through the eyes, mouth, other mucous membrane, open wounds, or through intimate sexual contact with an infected person. HIV is not transmitted by casual contact, hugging or kissing, donating blood, hot tubs, swimming, telephones, insects, or by sharing food. In fact, your chances of being infected by the HIV virus while you are at work are very slim. You will more likely come in contact with HBV. Like HIV, the hepatitis B virus can be fatal. Also like HIV, it's transmitted by contact with blood or body fluids. It's important for you to know that neither HIV nor HBV has any identifiable symptoms in the early stages. It's usually impossible to tell who's a carrier and who isn't without medical testing. Both AIDS and hepatitis B can be prevented, and your exposure to HIV and HBV can be minimized by taking a few simple precautions, which we'll discuss later. Turn off the tape and discuss what you've learned. Use the handouts you were given at the beginning of this session. Welcome back. Remember, from time to time, you may have to administer first aid or CPR. And when you do, be sure you use the following procedures to protect yourself from being exposed to bloodborne pathogens. Now that you have a little background on these viruses, you'll need to know what to do to protect yourself against them. These procedures are called infection control. The first step in infection control is known as universal precautions. Universal precautions simply means you assume any blood or body fluid is infected by a dangerous bloodborne pathogen. Personal protection equipment such as disposable gloves, eye protection, face shields, aprons, pocket masks, one-way CPR masks, and our Laidlaw sanitary cleanup kits are used to protect you from what is known as an exposure incident. An exposure incident is when blood, body fluids, or anything that's contaminated by blood or body fluids touches your eyes, mouth, other mucous membrane, open wounds, or skin. Disposable gloves are your first line of defense against an exposure incident. Gloves must be worn before treating an injured child. These gloves not only protect against viruses that can be present in the child's blood, they also protect the child from infections spread by you. Remember, the gloves are only useful if they prevent blood or body fluid from directly touching your bare hands. Take a moment to inspect the gloves before you put them on. If they're cracked or torn in any way, throw them away immediately and try another pair. Hypoallergenic or powderless gloves are available if you have an allergic sensitivity to regular disposable gloves. When you're finished with the gloves, carefully remove them in the following manner. Peel off the first glove, being careful not to contaminate any bare skin. Slide your index finger under the second glove. Fold it back. Grab this glove from the inside with your thumb and forefinger and peel off both gloves. Dispose of them in a red biohazard container. You'll practice this during the next discussion section. Wash your hands with soap and warm water immediately after removing your gloves. If it's impossible to wash your hands immediately, wipe them thoroughly with a disinfectant towelette and wash with soap and warm water as soon as possible. Disposable gloves can be found in the Laidlaw Sanitary Cleanup Kit. Each bus is equipped with one of these kits in addition to the normal first aid kit. Each Laidlaw Cleanup Kit contains a pair of latex gloves, deodorizing absorbent powder, red biohazard waste bag, disposable scraper, hand wipes, and disinfectant towelettes. When an area is contaminated by blood or body fluid, that area must be cleaned and disinfected as soon as possible. After putting on your gloves, cover the contaminated area with the absorbent powder from the Laidlaw Cleanup Kit. Next, use the disposable scraper and one of the hand wipes to clean the area. When you're through, clean the area with hand wipes. Then put everything into the red biohazard waste bag. Report the incident to the maintenance department as soon as your shift is over so the bus can be thoroughly cleaned. If the contaminated area also has broken glass or other debris that could puncture or tear your gloves, use tongs, a scraper and dustpan, or some other mechanical device to pick up the debris. Never try to clean up or pick up broken glass or sharp debris with your hands. Contaminated waste must be disposed of properly, which includes putting broken glass and other sharp waste in puncture-proof containers like this one. Any container or garbage bag used for these regulated wastes must have a fluorescent orange or orange-red warning label attached to it with string, wire, or some sort of adhesive so it can't be unintentionally removed. The label also has to have this biohazard symbol and the word biohazard printed on it. If you use red bags or containers, these warning labels aren't necessary. Stop the tape again and discuss what you've learned so far. Now that you've learned what bloodborne pathogens are and how to protect yourself from possible infection, you'll need to learn what to do in case an exposure incident does occur. There are 3 important rules to follow if you come into direct contact with blood or body fluid at work. Rule number 1, remain calm and report the incident to your supervisor as soon as you drop off the last child. Rule number 2, report the incident in as much detail as possible, including the child's name and the school he or she attends. Rule number 3, you will be sent to a doctor or nurse for evaluation. Follow these instructions immediately. Laidlaw will make sure the doctor has a copy of OSHA's Bloodborne Pathogens Rule, your incident report, a copy of your job duties, and how they relate to the incident in any relevant medical records. Every exposure incident will be investigated, especially in cases where personal protection equipment was not available or was available and not used. During your medical evaluation, you'll be asked to have a blood test and an HIV serologic test. If you agree to the blood test, but not to the HIV test, a sample of your blood will be kept for 90 days. If you change your mind within that time period, the sample will be tested then. The doctor or medical facility will try to get written consent to have the child's blood tested for HBV and for HIV. Afterwards, you'll be given your test results and told about any applicable disclosure laws and regulations in your state that would deal with the child and his infection status. Both you and the company will be given a written report of the medical evaluation results, which will include any recommendations for additional treatment. All other findings will be held in strict confidence. Bloodborne pathogens are serious business and pose a very real risk to people in your profession. By putting what you've learned from this tape into practice, you can minimize these risks. OSHA requires companies to have a written exposure control plan for its employees, which includes a training session like the one you're in today. This tape is part of Laidlaw's exposure control plan. A copy of this plan, as well as a copy of the Bloodborne Pathogens regulations, is available from the Driver Development and Safety Department.